what, first inspired you to step onto the stage?
Uh, I think I've always realized that I like engaging and speaking.
Yeah.
And throughout varsity, I was always that kid or varsity as a kid, that young man that always, spoke when those group assignments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And going through work, I realized that my facilitation skills seems to be something that is very strong and a core
Yeah.
competency that's complemented a lot. And that's how I've just decided, let me do the speaking thing. I've been told on a few occasions when I was younger that maybe I do have a voice for radio. So I'm at the stage where I'm like, let me see what I can do about it, and that's the journey I'm going through now at this point.
Oh, nice. So you want to join us?
I wanna join you, yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, please
That would
have
be
me on.
All right, so you've achieved success through Toastmasters and professional speaking. What has speaking actually taught you about leadership and confidence?
I guess maybe someone can say that as an African child, sometimes we're not taught how to express ourselves. And through Toastmasters and communication, I've started to realize, even for myself, and the things that I need to work on is how you express yourself,
Yeah.
the choice of words you use to articulate your point. And one of the most important things is how to be able to communicate and, from a leadership perspective, and address a behavior in a positive and a negative way without attacking the person. So those are one of the key things from a leadership perspective, but also realizing, and something that I must reflect on in terms of, it's just not what you say or how you say it, but what message your body also sends. Therefore, speaking in front of people allows you to also to reflect on your body and be cognizant in terms of how you are coming across and how people experience you, not through just your words, but also through your body, your facial expressions. And I started to realize a lot of people actually just sometimes just look at you and look at the demeanor in order to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm very curious, right? Are you like that in relationships as well? No, I'm very curious.
Like
I'm gonna
what?
jump into it because I'm curious. Like, is that the type of person you are? Like, are you cognizant of how you're saying things? Like, or is it just, when coming to public speaking?
That is an area of development, as people say, and I think that's something that I'm working on. So sometimes I
Yeah.
mince my words,
Yeah.
and you can tell that I'm not really trying to like articulate myself because I don't want to offend the person. But when emotions come to play, that's when people kind of tend to lose it, or myself. Let me not
Yeah.
bring people, but it is an area that I'm working on, and I've taken that from one area to realizing that also happens from a stage presence perspective.
Yeah.
And it all goes
We're
hand.
having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about how, people in their professional elements like are so perfect, right? But like when we go to personal, like you just wonder if that type of person. Now, we made an example with General Mkwanazi, right?
Okay.
He's loved currently by almost everybody, right? Because he's so amazing. He's so, he's for the truth. He's for, such a
The snitch, as we're gonna call him. I'm joking.
stop it.
I'm joking. No, he's doing the right thing. Yeah.
And so we wonder if that's how he is at home. Is he that honorable guy that stands for the truth and is so amazing and just wants everything to be right with everybody, And obviously, without really getting into the answer, we were just talking about how in our professional space, we are amazing. And sometimes we lack in our personal space.
So people who are CEOs doing well have gone through 4 divorces, right?
True story. True story. Because I feel like, to a certain extent, it's almost like you can't be the best in both.
You can't.
It's almost
yeah.
like you must choose one, which is sad. Which is so
which
sad.
is and I remember in one of the speeches someone gave, and they
Yeah.
talked about communication and realizing that different contexts requires different communication methods, different leadership styles, etc. So there are people that are maybe a bit more suited towards one than the other, but the sad reality is, what I've come to realize about the world of work is that there isn't always a lot of authenticity in terms of how people behave. And that's an environment where things mirror. But I've also started to realize that, even from myself, looking at how I grew up, there's certain behaviors that I've taken, positive and negative, from my upbringing into the work environment, and vice versa.
Yeah. I think what I'm getting from what you just said is so different versions of yourself for
Different
different
environment.
environments. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love
I don't know if you're the same here as when you're at home.
I think when we speak of being bubbly,
Yeah, that's you.
generally I'm a bubbly person, but my life is serious.
Okay.
You know, I'm a wife and mother. I am a leader in church. So my life is very serious,
cool.
which requires
Okay, cool.
a very serious
But you know,
part of me.
okay, but you know how to come that, you know how to bring that part in a very energetic, and comforting way. Is that what you're saying?
It's difficult. Parenting is difficult. You can't be. Sometimes with parenting, you need to be very serious. You need
Okay.
they need to see you're like, okay, we're not playing here.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, but generally, I'm a very bubbly person,
Okay.
which is why I get hurt a lot. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Okay, cool.
Because we're just having such a chilled
Yeah.
conversation today. I think all of these are able to actually come in today. But nonetheless, so the battle of the keynote speakers concept, right? It's unique and exciting. I personally like it. What do you find powerful for both speakers and audiences?
So let me just explain the concept. I think let me just start with that.
Sure.
So the key thing is to get speakers that are able to deliver keynote speaking,
Yeah.
and to have a competitive element to find out, who's a better speaker. And it's and it stems from, I guess, my nature around putting things together and around competition. Now I realize, for example, within the Toastmaster space, speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, and that's not the real world. And speakers, I don't know, in your experience, you really find people that speak for 5 to 10 minutes. So it's very long speeches.
Yeah.
And the uniqueness in that is where I see, and I was thinking about it last night, as the concept is evolving, that I think it can become a bigger thing, because there's a market in the gap around speakers, and finding and honing people to be able to give impactful speeches. And I feel that the environment that I come from, that is something that is limiting. I think that's the unique aspect in terms of it. The environment that I'm coming from also with Toastmasters is all about competition and camaraderie at the same time. So you're developing your competitor is developing you. You're sitting there, you're like, hey, I wish this person wouldn't win. I want to beat them. And it's just about creating an environment of just helping people to grow and learn within a craft that they're very passionate about.
Yeah. Do you train keynote speakers?
Me, no, I'm not at that level, to be quite honest, but those are one of the things that I'm interested in. So from my side, if I look at my core competencies, speaking, writing speeches is not something that I feel that is my core competency.
Sure.
My core competencies around facilitating, moderating, and also developing, and I'm getting there. So reviewing of speeches, giving people feedback on speeches is something that I'm working on as a development aspect. But around the facilitation, the engagement, the interviewing, the questions, that's where I'm strong. But I do want to get to a point where there's a bigger vision that's coming. But I do want to get to the point where I am assisting people to craft their speaking ability and stuff. So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I love the fact that you've got so many things in the pipeline. You already have so many things under your name, but so many in the pipeline as well.
Thanks. It must come in the bank.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll
That's
get there.
What we wanted.
We'll get
That's
there.
what we wanted. All right. What role has Toastmasters played in shaping your confidence in terms of communication, leadership, all round?
It's taken me out of my comfort zone, to be quite honest. It's made me reflect on a lot of things. As I said, for example, one of the things that I need to work on as a lot is body language. You can just see, I don't have a poker face. I need to work on that, and I'm working on the body language, the expression, interacting with people. And I find it very weird on my side is that there's also a networking element within Toastmasters. And when I was young in varsity, that seemed to be a very strong point of mine. And I don't know what happened after COVID. I became a little bit more reserved. This thing of sitting in front of laptops and not engaging with people. And it's just helping around networking, learning to read the room, learning to have precise conversations with people, and trying to see who you can add value to and who can add value to you at the same time. So, I mean, on a daily basis, I mean, from a work, I meet a lot of people, but in a meeting, you're meeting different people every single time you go to a meeting.
Yeah.
And people have that element, that social anxiety of how do I go speak to a stranger? Apart from the standing up and speaking. But for me, it's giving me a lot of confidence around I'm finding a bit of purpose that I'm in a space where I feel that I can also empower and help people. And I took up a role as a leader in one of the clubs, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Admin is not my strong point,
Of course.
but but the ability
Speakers generally are not good
are not
administration.
I'm working on that, but I mean the ability to bring people, the ability to challenge people, the ability to listen to someone speak and be like, hey, listen, I see something that's happening in 6 months' time. Let's work towards that. And that's the space that I'm in. Through Toastmasters, I've gotten a nice opportunity that's going to loom where I'm going to be working with graduates. And we still need to prep on. And I'll tell maybe the next time I come, I can talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's a workshop teaching graduates how to communicate or how to influence without a title.
Sure.
And that's a nice space. I also want to work on that, and it's a great content for me to learn. But being in that space and realizing that, like, we all don't have titles, and how you navigate different environments, especially within the corporate world, and how you're able to influence, because referent power has a lot of say in terms of that. And also this comes to the next part of the battle of the speakers around debating, and whether or not debating is arguing or how people see it, but how are you factual in able to influence someone to take a different direction without attacking them?
Yeah.
How do you also listen to someone else's point of view and realize that maybe this direction seems a bit more better than what I had envisioned at the same time? And then thirdly, we find ourselves in environments where we are asked to influence, persuade people to do things that we may not necessarily agree with, understand with. Because, I mean, if you work in corporate environment, everyone has their own opinion. Yeah. And leadership tells you what you need to do. So you need to be able to remove yourself from certain situations in order to, deliver the task for the business.
Sure. Round one is all about personal stories. Yeah. Tell me, what's the importance of personal stories where keynote speaking is concerned?
So the personal story is what makes you unique and your story and your competency, right?
Yeah.
And as much as we're speaking about the fact that I have so many different hats, it's important to have focus as a speaker. So if you look at someone like Vusi Thembekwayo, when he started, he just spoke about entrepreneurship. And that was his core competence. And now he's evolved to the fact that he speaks about almost anything. And now he's bringing biblical things. He's talking about politics. So it's important for someone to understand what their core competence is and what type of a speaker they are. Because if you start to mix too many things, you also get confused and your brand gets dilated. And people are like, why am I going to listen to so-and-so speak?
Yeah, because also when I call you, I don't know what you're going to talk about. You're going to jump into politics, and I'm really not into that.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to do that. So I guess, I don't know. Is that something that could be negative and positive?
It could be negative and positive, but I think what I realize is we also need to know a little bit about different things.
Yes.
You don't need to be expert on economics, but you need to understand the basics in order to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean now you need to be lecturing and talking to people about economics, because that's not your core competency.
True.
Politics, for me, to be quite honest, is something that I also run away of. So in group discussion, when people are talking about politics, I'm very quiet. I have very little to say about that because that's not what I'm interested in. So I think, to answer your question, the key is understanding what your key, what your experiences, and what reference power that you have that people can also listen to you.
Yeah. For people that invite speakers, like, do you advise people to be very clear on what they want the speaker to talk about?
Yes.
And what not to talk about?
Yes, I think that's very important. There's and Toastmasters, we always say understand your audience, which sometimes becomes very difficult when you speaking at different clubs or different environments. But there needs to be a purpose. You need to, even for example, with the podcast that I do, this is what we're trying to achieve. These are the questions you don't want me to ask. I mean, there's someone who I'm going to interview, and she's a director, a movie writer, and I wanted to talk to her about that part of her life and then relationships. And then I was like, okay, cool. You're 40 years old. Can we talk about motherhood and the challenges, because it's not happening the way you thought it would envision? She's like, don't touch that. That's something, that's something sensitive. So I think it's important to understand boundaries on both sides and what you want the audience to hear.
Yeah.
And I mean, certain environments, there's certain things that we should not speak about.
Sure.
And I think it's important to strike those boundaries. Yeah.
All right. Round 2. It's about bold perspectives. Was it important for speakers to challenge conversations and introduce fresh ideas?
I think that's the other part is now you're developing the part that you are uncomfortable with. Where you can also learn. And the key thing around the bold perspective aspect of things is that the structure is you choose what you want to talk about anything. The second one is we're going to give you guys a topic and both of you need to speak on the same topic.
Sure.
And that also shows your versatility, but it also gives a competition element of, hey, listen, this is fair. We're speaking about the same thing, the same criteria. How are you able to speak about a specific topic at the same domain? And that also shows a bit of competition and class around that.
Sure. Right. Round 3. It's about high impact debates. How different is debating compared to delivering a keynote speech?
There's similarities and differences. So the debating aspect of things is more of a serious, I need to articulate a point, right? It's mainly based on fact and research, and that creates the foundation of whatever we're speaking about. So whether or not we're going to talk about is AI going to affect work in modern day society? And that's what speakers also speak about, but now it's based on fact and how do you persuade and argue people. So there's a research component to it that you've done your research, and now there's a rebuttal aspect of things where you now need to think on the spot based on what someone has said and how you are going to dispute what they've said. Therefore, there comes a listening skill, but you must also be able to listen at the same time while you're obviously thinking and responding. So it's developing different components. I believe that every single day of our life we have conversations, we have arguments, we have debates, we listen to people, and it's very important to kind of hone in that skill in terms of listening attentively and responding appropriately at the same time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Lastly, what legacy do you want to leave behind? You know, where your speaking is concerned, where everything that you're doing, what legacy are you trying to leave behind?
Yeah, that's a very deep and bold question. It's an evolving thing, and I guess long-winded answer is I like to create spaces. And for me, the legacy that I want to create is the ability to create spaces for others and amplify other stories, and also to create spaces for myself. Now, when you look at comedians, a very unique brand of, I have a comedy show and I'm headlining, but I have 5 comedians who are helping me. And we're all creating spaces for everyone to grow. And I think for me, a legacy and a space that I want to be part of is creating that space for speakers. And that will obviously amplify my speaking and amplify other people's speaking. There is a deeper business plan that I'm still kind of working on. And it may even turn into an agency where I have speakers. You know, where now I've got a composition of speakers where we're training speakers, and now we, managing speakers. I think that could be an amazing idea. So those are some of the things that are brewing in my in my head at this point.
One of the many things that are brewing.
One of the many things that I'm brewing. Yeah. So I just need to have focus, and we'll see how that amplifies.
And I know that what I'm going to ask you now might sound like it's the same thing, but it's really not.
Okay.
What do you want to be remembered for? When it's your last year, you're gone, what would you like us to remember you for?
In varsity, when I started doing these things, I had a quote or the slogan. Yeah. Inspire, inspired, and inspirational. Okay. Therefore, I want to be inspired by others. I want to inspire others, and through that, I want to become an inspiration. So the key is just to empower people and just to be an inspiration across the board.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. What an inspiring conversation with Kofi Simpson as Phenom. Today's discussion reminds us that speaking is more than just words. It is influence, courage, and the power to move people into action. As the battle of the keynote speakers continues, one thing is certain. When voices rise with purpose, communities grow stronger. Thank you so much, Kofi, for joining us. Until we have you again next time.
Thank you very much. Hey, time flies, eh?
It
Thank
does.
you very much, eh?
Hate it.